All right. That's weird. It's so weird. Okay. We should be live. And if we are live, this video or this live stream is being brought to you by BetUS. Use code YouTube150 down in the description. Get your 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on your next two deposits, up to $2,000 with BetUS, man, sponsoring us for the 2024 NFL season. I know it's over, but man, we're heading to the combine. Dude, the NFL, I mean, shoot, we're rolling, man. We're rolling through this. I feel like I'm just trying to catch up on everything. That's what I feel. And there's so many things happening. There's so many things happening. Every day, there's just other players added to, hey, you can go look for a trade. Like every day, I mean, this guy's getting, this feels like way more than in the past, too. I don't know if this is like normal. I feel like this isn't normal. Like there's always guys that come up like that could be trades. I mean, remember last year San Francisco had the receiver situation. Even though Debo, it sounds like he might get traded this offseason, so I guess it's kind of just a carryover. But the amount of players that are getting thrown into this conversation of like, just go look for a trade is nuts. It sounds like there's going to be so much movement this offseason. It's insane. Harold Landry was this morning, and then later today, Jonah Jackson. I think it was Jonah Jackson. Was it not Jonah? I'm like, and it was spelled wrong. It was spelled Jonah Williams. So I was like, okay, I don't look like Jonah. Jonah Jackson. Crazy. After 1 year with the Rams, this guy's gonna get traded. It's insane. I wanted to do a show on all of these guys. Maybe I will still. But I want to find somebody that I can like kind of like lock onto and be like, I like that one though. Like that one stands out. That one makes a lot of sense. I haven't got there with any of these yet. Like the Jonah Jackson one's just interesting because like, well, he was here, we liked him, but I mean, he got paid so much. I mean, at that point, it was like, oh shoot, he paid him a lot of money. But like, it's nuts. I just haven't had a guy that I've came across and I'm like, I like that idea, so I haven't done any kind of episode on that. Anyways, beside the point, Mel Kiper got Oladejo as a first round pick. Oh, Mel Kiper's gonna love this mock. I spoiled it. Stop. Calm down. I need to calm down. Let me not do that. So look, I already made a mock draft. Okay, I'm fired up for Brad. Brad always throws. I don't want to say a curveball, man. It's kind of a curveball. Like Brad's gonna surprise us, but it's always amazing. It's always a ton of fun, and I feel like we always walk away pretty excited. Like I think it's like even when we didn't take Carter, like that would have been the time for me to walk away like, man, we just passed up on Jalen Carter, and he turns around and grabs Jahmyr Gibbs, and you're like, this guy just took it. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, like it threw us off, but he was such a entertaining and exciting player that I don't think anybody was like disappointed really once that went down. So I'm fired up for Brad, bro. Brad's gonna do magic as usual. I'm fired up. You know what I was thinking about today before we get to this is like the amount of team, I mean, now we kind of have like disciples in the NFL, Aaron Glenn, like the Jets draft. What's the Bears draft going to look like? Like what similarities are we going to see to what the Lions have done for years that those two teams, I think especially with the Jets, that those two teams kind of carry over to this year's draft? Like what things will we point to afterward and be like, that feels like kind of like what the Lions would have done, Like I think for the Jets, I'm very curious to see like what they do with quarterback, like how aggressive they are to really like go after that. Because I mean, we had golf immediately; they don't have anybody. But it's just like I understand. I hear all the stuff, and we want to win, but it's like I don't think he's going to do something like crazy to be like, oh, we want to win. It's going to start foundation first. So like for me, like I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Jets pass on quarterback. We're going defensive lineman first pick, like that kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fun. I'm fired up though. So yeah, I already made a mock draft. Now I've already shown this, not here, but I've shown it on Bleacher Report. So if you watched that, shout out to you. You've already seen this. But I made a mock draft and I wanted to make a mock offseason. That's why I have a mock draft ready. I had a lot of different plans for this mock draft and it ended up here. And I'm not sure how it got here. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't want to attach it to a mock offseason because it doesn't tie in with the free agency period. It's just kind of a draft. So I was like, let me not do and try to make this fit together with something else. Let me just let this be a mock draft. Let's talk about it. Why not? The combine's really kicking off tomorrow. So let's get something out there just to discuss draft a little bit because it's been a few days. And then we'll revisit this hopefully within a couple days. We do another mock off season. That's kind of the plan because I'm already prepared like how I'm going to attack my next draft. I'm pretty confident it's going to be something I'm excited about. But let me see who's in the chat, man. Juma's in here. I see you, Juma. What up, Nia? What up, man? You were spot on about Oladejo. Oh, is that what you were saying? Okay, I see you. Landon Jackson, defensive end, Arkansas is a beast. Landon Jackson's nice, man. Landon Jackson's nice. He's grown on me a little bit. First initial impression, wasn't impressed, and he grew on me a little bit. I think it's going to be interesting to see who feels like he's going to fit what they do defensively. But yeah, he's one of those dudes that grew on me a little bit from watching a little bit more and more. That dude's massive too. Like we were able to like see him in person. That dude was a giant, bro. Like I know he's measured bit like as a big dude, but it's like, oh my gosh, that dude's playing defensive end. He's huge. Can't wait to see what Brad does. Do I like Shepard? I'm fired up for Kelvin Shepard. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't have anything against Kelvin, but what you're asking, like I think it was right to stay on kind of the same timeline defensively. Like I think offensively getting creative was cool, but I think defensively ultimately I think it was staying on the right timeline made the most sense. Like I thought, that was the one spot where it's like, well, if they do go out of house, I guess it could make sense here. Then, Dan Campbell talked about all the moves that they made. I think staying with where the path that we were on defensively is smart. And now it's really going to be about what Kelvin Shepard has learned, and he's going to be able to carry over going forward. Like, where is he going to be at in this process? Because he's not getting really backed by like oh, this guy, you're a first-time defensive coordinator. Let's go get a defensive coordinator for like 20 years and have him be like your assistant. Like we have that here, but initially it was Dom Capers. He didn't really get that. So it's kind of just a staff that's been supported around him. A lot of guys that have been here, and then some assistants maybe for some key roles. But it's more about the staff. I feel like that they have intact that they feel confident about around him because it's not the first time versus getting like the vet that's like hip to hip with him. It feels like so. It's going to be interesting to see how that helps him translate. But I'm confident. I'm confident he's going to do well. I think it'll be easier for Kelvin Shepard to pick it up than it will be for the offense, to be honest. I think the offense is going to see some differences. Defense, I think, will look pretty similar. Like, I think there could be schematic changes, but I don't think the identity of who they are is going to change. What if he goes up to 15 and grabs Mike Green? Look, I'll be honest. Mike Green is not a guy I've watched enough yet to be, like, convinced that makes any sense. I know that there's people that love him. First impression for me was not top 15 pick. But that being said, that doesn't mean that that's how I'm always going to feel because I do need to get to that. There's just so many guys. I didn't have a bad experience watching the player. I just didn't feel top 15 pick from watching him. So if you ask me right now, I wouldn't do that. But if he did that, would I be surprised? Not really. Like that's kind of Brad Holmes. I'd say this. I'd be surprised if he moved up that aggressively for a smaller edge rusher. Like I don't want to. It doesn't have to be about the size, but I'd be a little bit surprised. I know Patriots Global wants us to do this. This is his guy. Patriots Global the Patriots might take him if we're being real. Like that's where we're at. But yeah, okay. I didn't even see this comment yet, but here we are. Okay. Well, I appreciate that you're here, man. You know what I mean? Hey, shout out to my guy Kobe. I didn't say this last time, but look, man, I had followed the Patriots for a while, back when we had Patricia, because it was all right, it's our team over there. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are looking for something different content-wise, check out my man Patriots Global. Plus, Thursdays we do our live NFL mock drafts, which have done pretty well over on Roundtable Sports. They've actually done pretty well looking back at them. Somebody got on my mic. They were like cooking me for my mic. But outside of that, it's been going pretty good. There was a lot of craziness last time, so I expect it to continue to be fun. Okay, let me get through a couple more of these, and then we'll jump right into it. Did you check out Fadil Diggs from Syracuse? No, I have not. That sounds like a safety. I have not, though. Do you like the idea of Pooh Paul? Okay, there's no way this guy's name is Pooh Paul. Is it really Pooh Paul? Pooh Paul in the second or Kobe Bryant in the third for the all-name draft. Okay, yeah, see, that makes it. Well, if we're going for the all-name draft, Kobe Bryant is top tier. We've already had a Kobe Bryant, though. So is that, like, not football, but we had a Kobe Bryant, like, recently in the draft. So does that kind of lose some of the buzz? Like, if I'm drafting names, do I want to get a guy that is like, oh, Kobe Bryant, we've seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, or do we got to go, do we have to go a different spot? Because we have kind of seen it. The draft I have today has a couple of guys that maybe not in that category, but they're definitely difficult to say. We go on live for the combine. I may at portions. I don't think I'm going to stay through the entire thing live, just because I think for me to get work done for the draft so I can, do these things, it's kind of difficult, like, because I can't do that live. Like, I thought about it, like, unless we're just sitting here, like, watching film, I don't know how I'd pull it off, really, to, like, get things done, but at the same time, watch the combine with y'all. So, like, it's got to be a balance there. I got to figure out how to balance that. I honestly don't know. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I have no idea. I have to still look in this draft class, figure out my guys are for the Lions. College is eating up most of my time. College is eating up most of your time? College football, college basketball. You probably talk about college basketball. Yeah, you Michigan State, Uncle Spartan. Okay, yeah, Michigan State. Okay, I got you. Y'all snuck by today, though. You know what I mean? We'll be back for the end of the season. You know what I mean? We'll be back for the end of the season. Okay, so with that, let's get right into this. You will not cook me in Madden. See, this is where we need to stop. This is where we need to stop. Colby doesn't know about our old tournaments. Okay, I did win one of those. Okay, and it's about 4 people in them, but I did win one. All right, Colby's not aware of this. See, that's the thing, right? He's missing very important information before he says something like that. It's cool though, man. You know what I mean? It'd be fantastic to do. Oh, you're in college. Oh, okay. Same here. Same here. Same here. Okay, so let's do this. Actually, I got to do assignment tomorrow because I'm done with my term tomorrow, and then I start the next one. So I'm pretty fired up about that. Honestly, I haven't checked my grade for my last assignment yet because I'm like, I think I did pretty good, but don't think it was fantastic. So I haven't looked at it yet. I'm just gonna, embrace it all at once. Like, all right, that was trash, and then I'll do the assignment. You know what I mean? Just like give myself some belief. Like, wait a minute, this could pull the grade up. Anyways, let's go into this. let's go into this, man. Here we go. Stutzman and Jack Sawyer are Dan Campbell guys. I think I don't know if I got Dan Campbell. I don't know. I don't know what I would classify these guys in. But I'll talk through some other options that I considered. I will say this like right off the jump. Don't be surprised in a soon mock off season because of the way that PFF simulator is ran and how it updates and it just kind of has the same order over and over until they update. Don't be surprised if Matthew Golden soon is in one of my mock off seasons. Maybe my next one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I went through them pretty extensively today. I'm kind of fired up about Matthew Golden, and I don't think it'll happen because the more I think about it, like I think the Lions are probably going to hit on a position with more depth, just because there is more depth, and guys like that will be more valuable. But I do think wide receiver takes a little bit of a drop off after Matthew Golden, and I think that if I'm going to go a different direction, there's a chance that I go that direction. So just warning y'all now, that might happen with my top pick soon. I know it's not the biggest need, that kind of thing. I'm not trying to go after needs necessarily. But you could find a spot for it. Like, you could find a spot. You could make him, like, receiver 3, and he'd be awesome. Okay. Do we have everything? Pat Bryant. I was watching Pat Bryant today. Didn't get there all the way on Pat Bryant. Not enough to draft him. Okay, here we go. Oh, here it is. I forgot where they put these things. All right, I want to zoom in. That way I don't spoil this whole thing. Here we go. Oh, no, it's going to spoil it. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, this brings me back, man. It's doing these kind of things. Okay, so as y'all know, I make trades a lot. So we're going to make a trade immediately. We're going to make a trade here, okay? Just bear with me on the trades. That's kind of how we do it. We just make trades because, like I said, it's a lot of the same kind of thing. Is JMO going to give us a discount? I doubt it. I think the discount comes from getting it done early. Like, the earlier we get it done, the more of a discount that he is. I don't think that it's he'll take a discount necessarily. I just think it's like the sooner you get it done because of where his production's at, you might be able to get it on a discount. But if he cooks next year, like, no. We don't sign him and he cooks next year. I don't think so. But I think Kirby's going to get done soon. I think that one's going to happen pretty soon. Make Ellick the first receiver you make a video on. I'm trying to talk myself into him being a first rounder. I know. You know what? I haven't got there either with him. I haven't been convinced on him being a first round pick. So, well, not only have I, that's why I haven't done a video, but maybe I will. Maybe at some point we'll get to a video like that. But I haven't really considered him a first round receiver yet. Okay, let's go into this, man. Let's start it. So we made some trades as usual. So we have pick 28. We moved back to pick 34, and we acquired pick 104. I always follow the trade value chart with these, so that's how I end up coming with it. It's not based on PFF what they accept. It's just based on the value chart, pretty much for the most part. I mean, they're not exact, but they're pretty close. So that's what this is. So using the trade value chart, 104 pretty much made it even to move back 6 spots. So I did jump out of the first round. I don't like losing the 5th-year option. I don't even know what the Giants moved up for. Maybe they moved up for I don't know who they would have moved up for, to be honest. Realistically, they probably didn't move up for a quarterback because it's a simulator, but in real life, that would be the reason to do it, I would assume. But we lose the 5th-year option, so that does stink. However, we got to pick 104 back. I like that. They give me another mid-round pick. Anytime I got mid-round picks, it's great. I just like having flexibility to move around the board because for these, I don't like giving up future picks. I think at some point we may just for the heck of it, but I don't like usually giving up mid-round picks or next year's picks. So we're just trying to stick with what we have, which means moves like this help me a ton. All right, let's move back. Terrible trade. Should have went Mike Green. Okay, this is how it's gonna be. All right, gotcha. But okay. Okay. Mike Green was not there, by the way. People like Patriots Global has made Mike Green a top 10 pick. That's the problem I'm dealing with. I don't even have the option. I mean, I got to give up every pick to go get Mike Green at this point. That's what we're dealing with. Okay, we move back. Y'all are going to hate this, but that's fine. It's the first pick. It'll get better. It'll get better. And the second pick that I have actually has clips. I don't have clips for this player. I'm just going to be honest because I have a full video on him. I selected, oh, should have traded up. Okay. Demetrius. Yo, I just thought about this, bro. That's crazy. I took Demetrius linebacker. I did. You look, man, I'm going to be honest. So I told you I wasn't, and look, this was supposed to be a mock off season. It didn't turn into a mock off season. But the more that I thought about this, right? You made the same trade. There you go. See, Ryan, the more I thought about, like, I was trying to really, like, I don't want to just pick a position, right? I don't want to do that because I didn't have free agency. So I was like, let me not do that. If there was already a free agency, in some ways I can kind of do it because I know what I need. You haven't seen the video? You got to watch the video. Actually, my lowest grade is his blitzing. I have an average blitzing grade, which is disappointing because he's a 6-year senior. But at the same time, I think the fit's going to be very interesting. So I can understand anybody looking at this like, ooh, okay, how is that going to work? I'm like, I got it. Demetrius linebacker is the GOAT. See, this is how you get the chat on your side. You do things like this. This is what I'm talking about. How does Knight compare with Chris Paul at linebacker? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know anything about Chris Paul as of now. I'm working through it, y'all. You know what I mean? But the problem is, like, when I go through players, I'm trying not to go all the same position. So I have like a little variety of each position. But if I go through like just one position, then I won't be able to do a mock off season. But I'll get there. I will get, y'all know I will get there. If it's the day before the draft, I'll get there. But I do have a video up on Demetrius Knight. So it makes this one really easy if you want to check it out afterward. We could check out segments, I guess, here today. For me, I think it's one of the more well-rounded linebackers. It's understandable that his instincts are the highest grade for me. I have him with a great grade there. It's understandable that would be the case considering he's a 6-year senior. So you understand that there's concern. My man said Jihad or Demetrius. For me, Demetrius is my highest graded player I have yet. I have yet to do. I have him as a 6'1". I have Jihad Campbell at like a 6'3", 6'32". I think it was at like a 6'32". So for me, just player for player, I take Demetrius Knight. Now, for the Lions, you could argue Campbell. I could get that, right? If you're talking specific fit, maybe more rush upside with his background as an edge defender, a little bit younger. I would understand that, especially in time, how it could fit with it. But for player, for me, it's not that close for me. I think this is a true first-round talent based on where I'm at so far. I think he's one of the most well-rounded players that I've went through. My lowest grade is average with this player, which is, weirdly enough, his blitzing ability and his ability to shed blocks. I think that's where it's going to take some time. I have him kind of labeled out as a Mike Orwell backer. You want to play him off ball. You want him to work in space. I think there could be some potential to like put him on the line, like in that Barnes role because of his size, because of his length. I mean, the guy's listed in at, do I have the size on here? I have it on here. 6'1", 246 pounds with good lengths. Like there's a path to him actually being able to be successful on the ball. He would just need to become a better blitzer for me to be comfortable with that. Year one's going to be a little awkward, which is why it's better that he's a second-round pick, I think, because if he's first, there'd be more expectations. He's got to play right away. In this case, he doesn't have to play right away. You know, in this case, he can be our backup linebacker, replace Alex at some point. I just think he's one of the most well-rounded players that's going to be – I think he's the best linebacker in this draft, one. But I also think that he's one of the more well-rounded players that I've went through. Like, I don't have another player that's graded out like this. I think he's very good in man. I think he's good in zone coverage. He's got a ton of range. 3 levels, he's impactful. I think he's very good in pass coverage. That'll translate. I mean, he allowed a 61 pass rating this past season, 16 of 23, I think, receptions. Plays the game very fast. But again, it's the instincts to me. There's a good flow to his game. He's really quick to his spots. It's just the areas that need development. He actually does have the build to develop. So I think, like, even if you just like that the way that he's built, he'll develop those areas. He's going to bring immediate special teams impact, which is great because he might play there a little bit. He's tough as heck. I think that he is the best linebacker in this draft that I've seen so far. So Demetrius Knight, again, just trying to take best player. He was actually, I think, at the top of PFF's board here. So it made it pretty easy for me to just be like, let's take him. We can revisit this one. I can even show clips if you haven't seen the video. We can revisit this one and show some clips of him. But Chris Paul's not the next round. See, look, this is what. See, if I was doing the mock draft, I could get Chris Paul. Where's Chris Paul from? Is he from, like? Why do I keep thinking Kansas? Wasn't there a lineman that came out of Kansas that was named Chris Paul? What school did Chris Paul go to? T-fan man. Lions have only one linebacker signed next year, and SBI Campbell, and that's the vision, right? It's the future vision. It's the future outlook here. And look, year one, it won't make people a ton of happy to think this in theory, but. You know, as Brad said, he's done this before with Jack Campbell. I understand it's definitely one of the lower needs you could probably point to. And I think the most awkward thing is more so that you have Jack. If you didn't have Jack Campbell, this is an easier sell. Because you have Jack, I think it's a little bit of a weird sell. However, next season, I think he could play next to Jack Campbell. I think he's got the range to do it. And I think there's a lot of flexibility in his game. And I think that he's got a future if he could be a Mike linebacker in your defense. Now, that's not great because we know Jack is that. So again, fit may have some questions. Player wise, I don't think there's any questions for me. All right, let's keep it moving. Chris Paul, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. Okay. Wait, was he a linebacker you said? Yeah, linebacker Chris Paul in Arkansas. How do I know that guy? I don't know. Go Landon Jackson next. this is the Patriots draft. This is what this has turned into. This is what this has turned into. All right, and he's 2 years younger. Yeah, I assume a lot of players are younger than Knight. That's fair. That's very fair. A 6-year senior is on the older side. I get that. But he's going to bring immediate impact, and we do rotate linebackers. So it's not like he won't be able to find the field. Like, we're going to rotate through guys. He's going to get on the field, even if he's not the starter on the depth chart. And then, of course, like if we're thinking about last year, I think obviously depth was the biggest problem. It would be pretty awesome that if you didn't have one of your off-ball backers in a game, you could be like, let's go to Demetrius Knight. You'd be like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We might be okay here. So it fired me up. Like, I get it. It's not like a plug and fit. Like, we need this. But also, I didn't do free agency, so who knows what the heck we need. Okay, let's continue. Let's move on now to our second pick. And I think there's a trade here, but it's going to show the player first, so beware. I'm going to pull up some clips of this guy. Will he be better than Malcolm day one? I think so. I think he's better than Malcolm. I think he's also more versatile than Malcolm. Now, I got to give credit to Malcolm. Malcolm's played everywhere. Like, Malcolm's been good on the ball. Well, I won't say good, but he's been adequate when he's had to play on the ball for us. He's been sufficient when he was asked to do that. Malcolm's coverage upside is a little bit limited, but he's a good zone coverage backer. I think this is probably a better zone coverage linebacker just because he could be a little more of a playmaker. He flows a little bit better. Man coverage, probably Demetrius Knight upside wise. He's not the best linebacker for man, and he's also got more of your typical stack and shed build that you don't find as much. But look, Malcolm's a heck of a player, man. Like, I would love to keep Malcolm Rodriguez around. I just think that he has more upside here with Demetrius in terms of flexibility specifically. But, man, it makes our linebacker room really good. I mean, we went from what we were like 2 years ago to Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Demetrius linebacker. Like, that's pretty good. All right, let's go to our second pick. It's going to spoil the pick, and then we'll get the clips. Oh, it's not. Okay, cool. Shout out to PFF for that. I thought it did. I think it will later, but it's fine. We're trading like every pick. Okay, so I made another trade. Now, look, this is the aggressive one, and you're going to see that I had to be aggressive to make this possible. Ooh, I didn't want to show anything. Okay, I didn't yet. I moved up from pick 60 to pick 40. What pick is this? 42. Ooh, I went aggressive. I moved up to pick 42. So I moved up 18 spots, following the value chart. I gave up 101 and a 104, which I just got from the Giants, so I was cool with this. I understand it leaves a little bit of a gap, but we'll see how we address that. And then I got pick 187. There's just some kickback in this, but I hated giving both of these picks up. However, I think defensive. Well, I don't want to say what I'm going to say here. Let me just show the pick, and then I'll make it make sense. So moving up to pick 42, the Lions select Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M. This is going to be one of the more interesting players, I think, in this year's draft. Like, there's an importance, I think, to first impressions and when you first watch a guy. And this was one that I was like, oh, this is a first-round player. And then he continued watching, like, okay, I could see how he's not. But, like, you could see the talent of people there could be people believing he's a first-round player. 6 foot, let me actually get his exact measurables here. 6'3", 300 pounds, doesn't have the best length, but he's athletically insane. And then you look at the fact that he's had some flag issues, right? He's been a little bit over-aggressive, I guess you could say. And I think it shows up in his play style. Like, he plays a little bit out of control, a little bit. So this will be an interesting spot where some team takes him, because I think based on the size and the athleticism, and then even if you throw in some of the production to that, this looks like a potential round 1 pick. The problem is he's a little bit out of control right now. He's a little bit of a younger player too, a little bit out of control as a player, and he's had some flag issues. So we'll see if the Lions would jump on it. It's nothing like off the field that concerns you. He's just pretty fiery, and you can see anytime he makes a play, like, this guy has the most energy in the world, but that can also lead to problems. And I think for him, there's not like a breezy feel to his game, where it's like everything kind of flows together. Oh, this is real smooth. Everything looks kind of choppy, like where he's just on hair on fire, and that leads to some messiness. But with this trade, I move up, I get a defensive lineman. I think he's probably going to be best fit for more of the 3 technique kind of role in our defense. I want him as a defense tackle. There's flexibility, there's position flexibility, but I think the biggest concern that I have, biggest concern about the player, is he needs to win more within a phone booth, is how I mentioned it. Like, in tight spaces, I need him to have more of a go-to plan. You'll even see this run-to-pass transitions where it's like play the run, rush the passer. There's not really a go-to plan that stands out. It feels like it's kind of all over the place. And that's a problem, right? It's a problem because it makes him much more effective the wider he is from the ball, which is like outside of shade of a guard, you're going to probably have your most effectiveness. But it also opens up the opportunity to play defensive end at times. It's just when he's lined up over a center, if you watch him against Missouri, you walk away from that game like, yeah, that didn't look good. That didn't look like a first round pick. And it's just so much of the inconsistencies with any sort of pass rush plan just popped up left and right in that game. Some of the just ability to win in some of those smaller spaces, some of the lack of just true kind of walk back nature to his game with some of the length that gets limited a little bit. You just didn't see that stand out, but there's so many other things that he does well. And that's where I'm going to go to the clips here. So I moved up just to real quick touch on this. Defensive line to me is very heavy within day 1 and day 2, obviously, but day 2 specifically is where teams are going to take, I think, a lot of swings on D linemen because you're going to have a lot of guys that maybe don't feel like surefire first round picks like Shamar Turner, but a team could buy themselves into really liking that piece. I think that's what day 2 is going to be full of, right? Specifically, round 2 is going to be full of Landon Jackson, right? It's going to be full of those kind of guys because there's going to be something that, every team's going to have a knock with something in their game. There's going to be like a weird undersized element to the guy that we took in my last mock out of South Carolina. Name slipped my name now. TJ Sanders, right? There's going to be that to like all of these guys is going to be something. So Shamar Turner has that little niche of his play style as well that falls into that. But I think if you wait till round 3, there's a legitimate shot that you push yourself out of finding these guys like this. What makes this D-line class so special to me is what you can get at round 2. And I think for the Lions, it makes a lot of sense to jump back into it because the longer you wait and you get to a spot where you start dropping off the guys that truly have like the size and the traits, and it's like we just need something that part of his game to come together, I think you're risking really losing out on those things. And then you're starting to get to guys that maybe have less athletic traits. And now it's like, oh, they're productive though. And then you start to kind of find that weird balance where like, I don't know if these two things are actually tying together that makes them that valuable as a pick. To me, this is where the value of the draft is. So I think it's very reasonable to move up and be aggressive here because I don't want to miss out on some of these pieces, right? That's why I did it with Sanders. That's why I did it with Turner. Maybe in real life, you don't have to do this, but on the simulator, you got to because you're going to these guys are just going to fly off the board like crazy. So I jumped up to get one right now. It's insane how much a team has transitioned now to a point where we could draft the first round talent as expected. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. It's well put. Feels like we're just starting 7th round rookies this year ago. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. It is crazy. It is crazy. It makes it so much more fun though. I got to be honest. Like I really enjoy the fact that I feel like I can come up here and make a case for a lot of things. My next mock off season is very likely going to be a different player who I won't say. It could be a couple different ones, but both of those guys, like I would have to sell it most times. Like, how does this going to make any sense? But because of where the Lions are positioned, I think I can sell it pretty well. I think I can because I can just find a way to make it make sense as long as I'm taking a player that I have conviction on. And this is a player that I do have some conviction with. I think the concerns, like the flag concerns, don't show as much for me because I love the way that he plays the game, and I think the Lions will love it as well. And I actually think the biggest thing that stands out is actually his ability to play the run, which, as you know, I'm just trying to get better against stopping the run. So I actually have a few clips that I'm going to show on the screen here. Charles D's with it. Okay, Charles, let me pop a few clips, and these are just random. I had like 30 clips or something. I don't know, some amount saved. And then I just grabbed a couple. Now, these first couple are very blurry, but I just grabbed a couple of them. Like, I'm just going to play them over here because there's a real chance people don't know who this is. So let me just play a few clips of this guy, and you're going to be looking for number 5 here, playing on the interior. You're going to see the athleticism. You're going to see the get off is special. Like, he gets off the ball so well, gets into the opposite side of the line of scrimmage so quickly. That's consistent. The way that he's able to square himself up the block is very consistent. And then it's just this. He keeps working. He's one of the more active pass rushers you'll find. The hand usage is consistently active. This kind of ability right here. He's got some of that flexibility to his game where he can find creases constantly. And this was probably the worst game that I went through was honestly Missouri, right? I just felt like the plan wasn't very consistent. And even here, like some of the upper body, you see him in the upper body where he doesn't really dip. He kind of gets stuck, locked out a little bit. You'll see some bend, but he doesn't dip. So he gets locked out. Things like that. And just in terms of being loose, he doesn't feel like he's kind of flowing through pass rushes. He feels like he's kind of just herky-jerky, and it's like, here's my go-to, and it's like, it's not there. And then it's just all over the place. He's just kind of firing shots left and right. Like, there needs to be a development of a plan here, but I think I'm willing to take a shot on that, knowing that, okay, in time, Aleem will be back, but I do have Aleem, like, long-term here. I have room to allow him to kind of figure out what he's going to be really good at. While at the meantime, the defensive line for A&M is ridiculous. I mean, the amount of players that they have is crazy. The amount of players that they have is absolutely crazy this year. I don't know how they didn't win the national championship. Like going through, I don't know if they were hurt or what's going on, but the amount of guys they have is nuts. And you'll see it here. He did really well against South Carolina in this matchup. Here, working kind of more of the 3 technique. You see the lateral quickness. He's going to keep working his hands. That's that ability to get the edge. That's why I want him to deal with more space. So I think you want him outside of a guard, maybe sometimes outside of a tackle. Otherwise, he's going to have to find a more consistent way to beat centers. Double teams tend to kind of throw off his plan. And then you see the lateral movement, man. You see that ability to get on top of gaps, right? Not get caught from behind. He's got the movement skills, just some inconsistencies within that first step accuracy, which puts him behind. And then you'll see him deal with combos. And even like here, when he gets pushed off, you notice the wide base. It's a lot of times comes back to that initial entry, and he's able to hold his ground, stack, shed, boom, he's on the ball. He makes a lot of plays like that. And this, to me, is going to translate really well. Like this, I don't think he's built to be like handle double teams constantly. But I do think that you can see by the technical aspect and the quickness that he plays with, and some of the hand usage as well, it allows him to find a lot more shed opportunities. You get this guy one-on-one, I think he's going to be a problem. In time, he's got upside to be potentially special, I think, against one-on-one blocks. Again, there's some ugliness. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, the entry here, I don't know what that was supposed to be. There is some ugliness to his game. I love the pursuit effort, though. He plays with a very high motor to his game. There's a lot more notes. I'm just kind of watching the video here. Let me pull that one back a little bit. And there's a lot to it, man. Like, again, I love him outside the guard here. You see the fast hands constantly. You see the ability to kind of reset right here through contact. Then he's ripping through, getting over top, flying over top. I mean, there's a little bit of like an out-of-control nature to it, but I kind of love it from a defensive lineman. Like, I'd rather be more polished, sure. But, like, you see the upper body force like this. The problem is he's getting, like, no leverage into this. I like that he can extend his length. He can kind of leverage himself to make himself a little bit longer than he is. But this kind of thing is not going to work. Like, this plan, I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what he's going for here. Like, I'm looking at this, like, okay, not sure what he thinks is going to happen with this play. Maybe a push-pull setup. I don't know what that was. That's the kind of thing that's like, all right, that needs to be better. But this, like, this is awesome. Like, this is the kind of thing that you fall in love with, man. With a guy with this size, this type of athleticism, man, it looks like it can be special in time. It's just we got to dial in some aspects of how this is actually going to play out. So for me, Shamar Turner, I think it's a great spot to go get your defensive lineman if you're going to do it. And I think there's flexibility here. He's just not a true nose tackle. That's the problem. Could he play some nose? Potentially. You're really going to have to dial in some of those aspects that need to be cleaned up. A&M got destroyed by Notre Dame season over. Got destroyed by Notre Dame the season over. Did they really? Wait, hold on. Hey, shout out to Notre Dame, man. I was hoping y'all would handle business. I was hoping y'all would. I did see like a behind the scenes clip like later, after like where they're like, I don't know which receiver it was, but he was like calling out how the cornerback was playing for Notre Dame, and then they cooked him, and I was like, that's kind of slick. That was kind of cool. I gotta be honest. Okay, he's kind of nice. He's nice, but I kind of want Kenneth Grant. Yeah, but definitely different players. I mean, we're going true nose tackle if that's the case. I'm not mad at that. I definitely couldn't get him here. Like, definitely couldn't pick him up here, but I'm not mad at that. It's just definitely two different styles. Now, that being said, now in this, right, because Brad Martin better finally see, and that's the thing, right? Like, there is no free agency. And you know, my last free agency, I picked up a nose tackle, so I could do that again if you attach a free agency, or we lean on Broderick. And it's possible the Lions do lean on a little bit of Broderick. Instead of, I could absolutely, like, this is the thing with Brad, right? There's so many flexibility, but he also believes in his draft picks. It wouldn't surprise me if Brad made a little move at nose tackle in free agency like they did with Pecco, maybe more aggressive right this year, and then he didn't draft a nose tackle. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did that. Like, because Brad believes in his draft picks, man, and I would not be shocked if he let him kind of be like, all right, you're the backup this year. So that moves us on to 131, I guess. Okay, no, this was a trade, but this one isn't really count as a trade. Let's be real. I moved up 2 spots, okay? I went from 131 to 133, but I did this because I wanted to ensure I got my guy. I don't think he was actually going to be picked, to be honest. I couldn't tell, and I know that Buffalo kind of wants an edge rusher. I know they're trying to get Myles Garrett. It's like, let me not play around with this, because I knew who I was going after right here. When I was at 133, based on their thing, I was like, I know where I'm going with this pick. I just wanted to make sure that I got the pick. And we got some of these late picks, so 246. It actually works out on the trade value chart to make this kind of move. So we made the move, pulled it off. We're going to go up a couple spots. There is a little bit of a gap here, but we've been there before. And that puts you, oh boy, you're going to love this, Charles. Or I guess Mel Kiper will. I got Oluwafemi Oladejo out of UCLA. I don't think he's a first-round pick. I'll be completely honest with you. Not from what I've went through so far. If I get to that point, you better believe there will absolutely be a video on it. I've definitely not gotten there with him. I don't see a first-round pick right now at all. But I think he's one of the more interesting cases, because I was let me get my notes pulled up. I was thinking about this when I was just walking around thinking about this draft pick. And I think he's in a very interesting spot, because he played off-ball a year ago. Like, this is a late transition. He was playing off-ball linebacker just a season ago, and then he went to edge rusher this past year. And he's got like a build that you could buy into, like, oh, there could be 3-down starter here. This could be a DN at 3-down starter down the road. And then he also has the skill set that'll flash. And you're like, all right, there's things here. Right? He doesn't look very limited. It's just not that consistent right now. Obviously, there's the growth process that has to take place, and sometimes his plan is very messy. But I think at this spot, you're getting an edge rusher at, what is this, pick 131 that you feel like could be a 3-down starter. It feels rare. Like, I don't feel like that's backwards of what Barnes did. Now, he has done coverage drops over this past season. I don't think that it looks super fluid where I'm like, oh, yeah, that's where I want him, dropping into coverage a ton. But it's definitely enough to get him out in the flats. I mean, there's enough movement speed. Like, we've seen him track seam routes this past year. The big thing there is that I think that his off-ball backer kind of taps in a little bit when you see the way that he kind of searches out and finds routes in coverage. He doesn't just drop the spot, specifically in zone, he finds routes. And he does carry, I think, enough long speed where, like, he could run into the flat with a running back. I just don't want to. He's not like a coverage piece. Like, I don't view this as, oh, he played linebacker, let's make him the coverage edge rusher. Like, that's not viewing it. This is a guy that I think has upside to be a 3-down defensive end on the road. Now, will it all come together? I don't know. But I think he at least has the skill set to get there. I don't know where his numbers even fall in. Like, we could look at that in a second here. I can go through that. But I think he's got an ability to create power at the point of attack. Like, you'll see that, especially against the run, it stands out. There's a really nice flow to the football that he carries. He gets in on a lot of tackles. But the big thing there is the way that he has a take-on technique, the way that he handles contact at the point of attack, the little knockback that he creates against offensive tackles. Like, he looks like he could hold up against tackles. It's just going to be about resetting his base consistently, kind of settling himself down, leveraging himself properly. But he looks like he could handle offensive tackles at the next level if he was in one-on-one situations. And then as a pass rusher, I think there's a lot to like from an athletic perspective. And then there's like, all right, there's a lot of growth that needs to happen here because sometimes the setup just doesn't even feel like it makes sense. Like, sometimes I feel like he's rushing the quarterback with no, like, angle for the quarterback at all. He's kind of just pulling himself out of the play anyway. I don't love the path all the time. The plan to me is messy, which leads to a lot of false steps where he's kind of like chopping and he's going nowhere. That gets messy as well, and the setup doesn't help. I don't think he's as instinctive. He doesn't feel instinctive as a rusher, which, again, more reps at this could help him kind of develop that along the way. We'll see where that gets to. But he's got length. He's got really good foot quickness. He's got fast feet. The speed to power buildup is there. Like, he can actually create some force, create some walk back. He's tough at the point. Like, this is a tough piece, man. And he's got enough coverage upside. I think that not a first-round pick for me. But I could see where a team goes definitely higher for this. Because he's got a very interesting, like, size and athleticism traits that kind of tap together here that don't feel like they should be available this late. Because it wasn't like he didn't produce in college. It wasn't like he didn't get wins. Like, he would flash wins against some of the best. Like, he would flash wins. I mean, I saw him beat Connerly, I think, once this past season. Like, he would flash wins against some really good offensive linemen. It's just it needs more consistency to it for you to love it. But at 131, I'm absolutely on board with this. A lot of guys that interviewed today have some physical build. Colin Oliver, I've watched Colin Oliver a little bit. Tight end, raised at the tight end out of Oklahoma State. Josiah Stewart, I'm a big Josiah Stewart guy. I think he's awesome. Backwards of Barnes did. Oh, I already read that. Starting to think we could address this defense in the draft. No, absolutely we could address. I mean, if you want to, you can. Like, especially on the front. Because of where we're at in the back end, we could do it in the back end too. But especially with where we're, like, picking, or not where we're picking, but where this defense is heavy, if you want to go front seven, first off, you could potentially have the first linebacker taken off the board at our pick. Meaning, like, there could be no true off-ball linebacker that even goes before we get on the clock. So if you want to go that route, you go that route. Edge is going to have a couple guys that roll through, but there's going to be variety when we get on the clock if we didn't move at all. And same thing with defensive linemen. Like, I would love to see a guy like Derek Harmon kind of fall to our spot. Something like that would be pretty awesome. I don't know that that's going to happen. But if a guy like that doesn't fall, or Kenneth Grant doesn't fall, you're going to be sitting in a spot where I think you're still going to have guys that you like. You just may not be sold on them as first-round picks. But at 28, I mean, it's a lot of times teams don't have first-round players anyway. Trade for Debo to Detroit in free agency. I was looking into that. I think Debo financially actually makes the most sense, potentially, out of all these guys. I mean, it's still not great. Let me actually see if do I have the numbers handy? I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Hold up. Let me see. I'll pull it up while we're live here. I can't remember what it was. Like, for San Francisco, I think this one actually would make the most sense. Would be Debo. I don't think we need to go after Debo Samuel, of course. But if we were going to make, like, all these guys that have recently had their names pop out, to me it makes more sense than Landry. It would make more sense than Jonah Jackson. Maybe not Jonah Jackson, because we could use a guard. But it could make sense. It's just a problem of giving an extension there. That's where it'd be kind of messy. That would be the problem. But immediately, like financially, I think it actually kind of could make sense. And he's not coming off like a horrible season. He just didn't run the ball well. He averaged like 3 yards per carry. Okay, so Oladejo, that's the pick. Let's keep it moving. He says, I know you took a safety. We're about to find out. We're about to find out. But next mock offseason, we'll probably have a safety for sure. Cody Lindenberg. Cody Lindenberg interviewed with Detroit. He's pretty decent. Lindenberg. Is that who I was watching today? Was Lindenberg? Let me see. I think I may have been watching him today. Where's Lindenberg from? Remind me where he's from. I may have been watching him today. It sounds familiar, but maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. So that's our pick there. All right, let's move back. What do we pick next? Oh, we just went right into it. Okay, so we're going right to tight end. Okay, so finally, first pick on offense, Thomas Fadone. Thomas Fadone the second, Nebraska tight end. He was at the Senior Bowl. Cody Lindenberg linebacker. He was at the Senior Bowl. But what school did he go to? I don't remember him at the Senior Bowl, if I'm being honest with you. Sounds like Iowa. Sounds like, okay, well, it might be. Yeah, tight end, Thomas Fadone. Okay, that's going to be the pick here. I don't know that he goes this far. Oh, at Minnesota. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched him yet. So I don't know if this is realistic, like he's actually going to fall this far. I guess I could see the path for it. He just feels like a guy that could fit the Lions better than most tight ends. I think especially it's kind of like the edge thing, but like we're getting into day 3 now. It's round 5. I think when you get to this point in the draft for tight ends, it can be a little bit tricky to figure out like what can we actually get here? Are we really trying to lean heavy into like, oh, he's a route runner, he's a separator? Well, once you do that, you're probably getting a guy that's more like a slot receiver that doesn't bring much as a blocker. I think that's where you're getting to. Thomas Fadone, I think there's going to be limitations as a route runner. But I think there's ways that he can win. There is an effort level as a blocker that I think is fantastic, and I think it would translate to the Lions. I love him out in space as a blocker. He's got fantastic movement skills. He's got an ability to sustain blocks. He's an absolute finisher. I mean, the first 2 games that I watched, both games, he ran somebody into the ground. Like, he's that kind of guy as a run blocker. Production-wise, I think he had like 350 yards this past year. But as a pass catcher, what will separate for him is that he does have some long speed, and he can definitely sink and get in and out of cuts and create some separation. To me, that's what stands out about Thomas, is that he can do that, which to me, while not every route tree is going to be ideal for him, I think, there's some lack of maybe looseness to his game a little bit. I don't think there's a ton of fluidity. It kind of makes it a little bit difficult for him to kind of set up off coverage players. Instead, he kind of plays more of the contact game. Let's get leverage and then we'll break off it, create some space. But he's got very fast, reactive hands as a pass catcher. This feels like the kind of guy that could separate on some of the more straightforward breaks, meaning like what Shane Zylstra did. I think of the deep in routes that he used to run, like 15 yards. That's where I like Thomas Fadone. Reactive, fast hands, big body, really tall, that can line in line. He gets caught off the line of scrimmage way too long. I mean, that's one of the things. He's not very loose, right? He gets like shoved off the line, it throws off the timing. But when he does get out of his route, because he lined so much in line, and he did a little bit wide too, he does have that kind of like in and out of breaks where he could separate against like safeties or linebackers on some of those intermediate level 2 routes with also the speed that he creates out of those breaks. So I don't think every route's going to be perfect here, but I do think that there's enough where there's a path for him to separate. And then as a blocker, I think that's where he's going to shine. Pat Bryant really had some potential. I think Pat Ryan's interesting. Like Pat Bryant really, I actually did consider taking him, not in this pick. At some point in this area, I did consider picking Pat Bryant. I mean, I wasn't there over Oladejo, right? I think there's a lot more upside, but I definitely consider wide receiver. One guy that I like that I haven't, I'm just going to spoil it. Antoine Wells Jr. out of Ole Miss is someone that I'm a pretty big fan of. At some point, you may see him on a mock off season. I'm a pretty big fan of what he can be as just a separator, but I don't dislike the idea of receiver, especially a guy that like Pat Bryant, where that's a little bit bigger, that can potentially separate vertically. That's why I think Matthew Golden would actually be pretty awesome. It wouldn't feel like a need like to anybody, but if you just, I don't know if I want to trade up for him, but if he was sitting there at 28, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. You took him and like, all right, just take and put him on our offense. Like, yeah, he'll separate for us, and he's like completely different than what we have. But I think Fadone's ability to block is what's going to stand out. This guy, I don't know, man. This is something I think is going to translate. He blocks in space. He's going to be very effective for screens. He's going to be good in line. He fights for recovery. His change of direction in space. He's got a sustained ability to his game. I love it. And I think this feels like a Lions tight end. And I think someone just said, you wanted my Tim Patrick replacement here. Heard you didn't like Pat Bryant, though. Would have been that guy, maybe. I don't like him that much. Like, I didn't like him over the other options. But, look, I was considering it. I was definitely considering it. I think receiver is interesting, too, because I thought about the same thing. Like, should I get a receiver to replace it, that kind of thing, because, he's a free agent. I think they're going to re-sign him this year. So I don't think that – I could be wrong. I don't think he's going to be let go. we've seen the Lions kind of value those guys, so I don't think he's going to be let go as long as he wants to come back. The other thing, I do think you could address it in free agency. I think there's kind of options. Like I did a show on Bleacher Report this week, and I talked about De'Ami Brown. What he's projected. I don't know if it's the best fit for, like, he's not the same as Tim Patrick, obviously, but you might be able to get him at a price now where it's like kind of the last time before he really takes off and gets a legitimate payday. A guy like that could be on the table, like someone along those lines. Obviously, we did Westbrook-Akine last time too, so I think someone like that could kind of fall into consideration for free agency. I think there's going to be some options. Receivers just so deep. I get the sense the Lions are going to bring back Patrick. Like, I'm pretty confident in that. But even if they brought back Patrick, I wouldn't hate if they still drafted a receiver. So trust me, at some point that's probably going to happen. But Thomas Fedone II is the pick here. And plus, like I said, we don't have a number 3 tight end. Like, James Mitchell is gone. And this, in some ways, I was kind of reminded of James Mitchell. Not like the same style, but there's a little bit of something after the catch, a little stiff arm there. He gave me vibes of James Mitchell. Like, Mitchell would block. He was feisty against the run. Then he had some pass catching upside. Like, this is kind of some of the vibes that I get here with Fedone. So I thought, we've kind of done this before. Obviously, it didn't work out, but about the same part of the draft in year 1, we did the same thing. Now you got Brock Wright locked in with Shane. If you lose Zylstra, if you lose Laporta for a game, what is it going to look like at tight end? Be nice to have a guy that you like as a receiving option. And plus, I think Brock's going to be playing some fullbacks, so you could use another tight end. All right, let's go to the final pick. Yeah, we turned this into 5 picks, by the way. So if you're disappointed, I apologize. We turned this thing into 5 picks. But it's probably better than like 9 picks. We'll have to do that at some point live. So we'll move back. And, we traded up again. My goodness. Wait, did we have, how many picks do we have? Wait, there might be another pick. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know. We moved up to 165, giving up 187 to 196. This actually fell pretty same on the trade value chart. Problem is trade value chart is like once he gets like 210, everything's worth like a point. So it's like, yeah, these aren't valuable at all. But this actually did work out. So I jumped back up in the draft. And as you're going to see, oh, no, this is the wrong trade. See, this makes more sense now. This was the trade for that. I moved up to get Thomas Fedone. See, PFF, you need to stop playing. So I moved up to get him, giving up 187, 196 to go to 162. So I locked in my tight end. I think tight end falls off a little bit. I do like my man CJ out of Alabama, but I think it falls off a little bit. Okay, so here, 216. This is more like it. I did trade up. Okay, stop. 216 for 227, 230. Look, I don't need 2 picks if I just need to make 1 pick. And that's Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson, defensive tackle, defensive lineman, defensive end, whatever you want to call him, out of Nebraska. It's hard to not watch him and just be like, you know what, that'd be a good player to put on our team. And I do think at 216, it's kind of like the spot where it's like you're trying to find a dude that's going to make the roster, that can stick around for years. Ty Robinson, I think, has a potential to do that. Now, there's many other guys that I considered here, safety, receivers, a lot of guys that I thought about here. But Ty Robinson, I don't know how this is going to fit exactly. I'll be completely honest with you. But I know that he's a guy that I like watching play football, man. Like, he's tough as nails. The guy can get after. He's got all the production there. There's going to be like some weirdness about his game because he's 6'6". What is he? Is he 6'6"? Yeah, I think he's like 6'6", 300 pounds, a little bit undersized. He's a little bit more top heavy built. So it's going to be kind of a weird style at which he's built. And the way that he plays, it gets a little bit upright. Like, you can kind of get him in some of those awkward positions. But usually when he's working downhill, he plays with a nice little leveraged entry. He creates some knockback. He is just one of like the meaner defensive linemen that I've seen. I mean, there's a ridiculous, relentless toughness to his game where he just drives people out of the plays. It almost feels like mahogany as a defensive lineman. That's kind of the vibe that I get a little bit. Maybe not the same as a prospect, but in terms of like style, he reminds me of mahogany that plays defensive line. He's got that kind of nature to his game. And as a run defender, he just lives behind the line of scrimmage. Now, getting over top of blocks, separating, creating lockout, that needs to be better. Again, I feel like he plays too upright. His base doesn't always separate himself to actually create space for him and actually create kind of that umbrella look that we talked about in our last show that was live. But instead, he's going to win single blocks a ton against the run. I love his effort in pursuit. He's a fiery competitor. I mean, he's one of the most hyped up dudes. So I only got 2 dudes that are just fiery on defense. And that's the side of the ball that, I'll make that work. And I think what makes him work as a pass rusher is that there's a decisiveness to it. There's a decisiveness to his game. He's got a really nice first step. He's got a good get off plus timing upfield. His change of direction is pretty impressive within that first step, kind of sudden to his game. But I think it's because it's so decisive. It's not overcomplicated. It's pretty straightforward. Like, I'm going to get an edge and I'm going to work upfield. And it's very straightforward and it wins. There's not a lot of nuance to it. I think there's limitations in the amount of ways he can win. He doesn't play with a lot of shake. You put him out wider, you're probably going to get less consistency. But he knows how he wins. For me, It's just going to be like, how consistent can I get him as a run defender when his base width becomes very skinny, right? How consistent can I get him to be able to separate and clog up more space than he does right now, rather than just pushing up field. But overall, I mean, this is one of the nastier players in this year's draft that I've seen. Maybe the nastiest player that I've seen. He's heavy-handed at the point of attack. He's strong in the upper body. I love me some Ty Robinson, man. So shout to Ty Robinson for making their way on it. Congratulations, Ty Robinson. You know, we should send Ty Robinson like a hat or something. Like, you know what, Ty? You made it on the mock draft. Congratulations. Anyways, I think that's the last pick. Oh, look at that. We got 2 awards, too. Shout out to PFF, always hating. But we got 2 awards. We got the handshake. I appreciate you, PFF. And we got a 7-round award. Shout out to PFF for that. Okay, I see you. Hey, we're not going to look at the grades? No, we'll look at the grades. All right, let's go through it. Oh, wait, is this... I guess it's full screen. Yeah. So those are grades. They give me an A- for Demetrius, B- for Shamar. Okay. Oladejo, B+. I get that. Because you got to remember, they grade based off their rankings. So Fedone, I think I took him kind of early. Maybe that's why I got the C+. I don't know if they also consider tight end a need for the Lions. That's probably a thing too. And then I went Ty Robinson, which I'm pretty sure was very early based on their rankings. I think I just jumped on it. I was like, yeah, I want to take that guy. So I just put him on the team. But yeah, that's your Lions mock draft live, kind of. You know, we didn't do it live. I do want to do one of these live. Maybe we'll do one of these during the combine. You know, we'll just do one for fun. Ty Robinson and Shamar Stewart is nasty. Shamar Stewart, okay, you talking Stewart. You're not gonna talk about my man Shamar Turner. That's crazy. That's great. Maybe you got the names mixed up. Hey, that's what that is. That's what it is. Just recorded the combine. This mock is a joke. Trying to sound smart with these picks, and it's not working out. They shot. Matt's cooking me, dog. These aren't actually anyone would pick, really. Nebraska has had defense since NS was there. Okay. Hey, man, I got you, dog. Man, you know what? Hey, that's what's fun about the draft, man. That's why I love the draft. But that is the thing, though, too, to me. Like, I saw what, I don't know whose mock it was, but I watched the mock today, and it was, like, pretty straightforward. And we know that the draft never plays out like that. Like, I mean, nobody was mocking Jack Campbell. We took Jack Campbell. So, my goal over the last few years has been to kind of open up the way that I draft, be very versatile, learn about as many people as possible, don't overlook certain things. So, you know, that's been kind of my way about going about this. And I'll say this, man. The only thing I can say about my mocks, you know, we're gonna have disagreements because it's drafts. Everybody has disagreements. Is I can go back on what I've said because I've watched all these players. Like, none of this is based on this dude said that about him, or look at his stats. I've watched them all. Then breakdowns of some of them. So I could defend the players that I take because I've seen them. Does that make it right, or people will agree with it? Not always, but I can defend it because I've seen the guys that I take. So that's the one thing I'll say. I put the time in. So regardless of how you feel about it, I put the time in. Just recorded the combine. So what does the combine schedule look like? Because I was actually thinking about going to the combine on Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to go or not, though, because I don't know what the value is. Yeah, the combine doesn't start till Thursday, right? So, or workouts till Thursday. What'd you record? Just recorded the combine. Boom, what'd you record? Is like interviews or something? It must have been like, I don't know what that would be. See, I didn't think anything started until tomorrow, so maybe I'm missing something. Surprised I didn't take O-line. Definitely wanted to take an offensive lineman. You know what? I was considering taking an offensive lineman my top pick, if I'm being honest. There's a couple guys that I considered there. I haven't found like an offensive lineman that I love the later you get into the draft, which is the problem. Like, even when I took Monheim last time, I didn't love it. Like, that was probably the pick out of all of them that I didn't love. Upcoming. Okay, good look. Okay. That was probably the one I didn't love the most, to be honest. I mean, I took an old lineman, but I didn't walk away like super happy about the pick. I was like, all right, I got an offensive lineman. Like, it makes it look better, but I don't know that I love it. So I have not seen nearly all of the offensive linemen. But I want to make sure that I can like really feel good about it. I just haven't felt good about like a lot of the later guys. I'd feel great about Donovan Jackson. You know, if I took him at some point of Ohio State, I'd feel great about that. I feel pretty good about Gray Zabel. I feel pretty good, right? He's going to be transitioning to guard, but I feel pretty good about Gray Zabel. There's a couple of guys, you know, that kind of fall into that category. Who was the other one? I don't know. There's a couple that I'm like, maybe he could go to guard. Like, I was watching Jalen Rivers today. I'm like, it could be guard, but I don't know that I trust it. I would say the one guy that's actually interesting to me is Miles Frazier out of LSU. He's been interesting. Dylan Fairchild. Okay, I don't know nothing about Dylan Fairchild. Let me do this. Actually, hold up. I gotta do this before. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing over here. All right, before we go to that, and then we kind of wrap it. Let's Let's give a shout to our sponsor of today's live stream, man. BetUS. Shout out to everybody tuning in as well, man. Place a deposit, get 125% match on your first deposit, 150% on your first deposit, 125% on your next deposit, up to $2,000 using code YouTube 150. Look, man, there's still a lot going on with BetUS, even though the season's over, because they do have NFL specials where it's basically free agency. You're basically betting on where teams are going to end up. Oh, actually, take that back. That's what it was, but now it's all combine. Wait, you can bet on the combine? Hold up, this is even better. Hold up. Highest vertical jump. Break Chris Conley and Donald. Will somebody break the record of the highest vertical jump? I didn't even know you could do this. More bench press reps than 49? Okay, hey, look, bro. 49 is the max? I mean, I used to be able to do that, but, like, I've been, like, cutting the weight. This is crazy. I didn't know you could bet on this. Well, if you want to get in on the combine betting, I didn't know that was a thing, but it is. Shout out to BetUS, man. Sponsoring today's live stream. Yeah, I don't know who Dylan Fairchild is. Let me do this. So I'm going to pull this up, and I just want to kind of run through, like, the mock simulator. I appreciate you, D. Elliott, for stopping now. I was going to do this pre-record. Let's just do it live. And then tomorrow, maybe we'll get a mock off-season out. We'll see. I posted the full schedule in your Discord. Take a look. Oh, snap. I do need it. We started a new Discord, actually, on Roundtable Sports. I was going to try to get, like, a channel built out in there for the Lions. That's what I was going to try to pull off. I don't know how that's going to happen. We've been kind of doing, like, some weird things behind the scenes to try to make work. I was like, let's try if, like, we can do that. That way everybody's kind of in the thing. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah. Wait. Okay, I missed something. Guard from Georgia. Oh, he's a guard from Georgia? Wait, have I seen him? Maybe I have seen him. Okay, so I was going to pull up the mock draft simulator. Yeah, I was going to do this pre-recorded, and then I decided not to because I was like, it's kind of late. And if I do it now, I have to edit it. So I'm like, let's just do it live. We haven't talked draft in a couple of days. Let's do it. And then next couple of days, we'll probably have a mock off-season coming out. That's the plan. But, like, so, oh, that thing is shaking. Like, what the heck was that? Their simulator is adjusted right now. They got Walker where he should be. You know what I mean? Where he should be. And by the way, I'm assuming the trends are everybody's taking him as Lions fan. Yes, this is how it goes. The trend is back up. It was really high. But this is right. This is accurate. Good job. Yeah, Gray Zabel. Like I said, I considered him. See, it's kind of the same guy. I don't have Alexander this high. I thought I was high on Alexander. This guy is like the man now. All of a sudden, I don't know, man. I might have to revisit my video. I don't know. Like they're on this guy. So yeah, it's usually the same guys kind of over and over. I just did the Azaraku video. Fidel Diggs. Okay, wait. Let me go to offensive line here because we had these guys. You saying I watched Jared Wilson today. I watched Jalen Rivers today. Did I watch anybody else on the offensive line today? Just today, I don't think so. I've watched Cornelius. I've watched Jake Majors. I've watched Miles. I've watched Jonah. I've watched a little bit of Connor, but I honestly don't remember. And then, right here, Dylan Fairchild. Okay. I like that he's ranked so low. That's a good opportunity, man. The 6'6", 6'5", 315. That's a good opportunity to get that, you know what I mean, in that mock draft, my last pick. Hey, we, you know what I mean, Charles? We might have to make that happen. We might have to make that happen. Glad I did this live. Still want to do a group mock? Yes, I do want to do a group mock. I want to get the people together where you pick 4 dudes and each of the boards, sell them to us, and I'm down with it. Maybe we do this during the combine. Maybe we do that during the combine. I'm still getting close. I don't know that I could sell you 4 guys at every pick, if I'm being honest. Not really well. Need to watch that kid Tate from Georgia, Tate Ratledge. I do need to watch Tate Ratledge. I haven't watched a ton of him. I watched him before the year. Haven't watched him from 2024 much at all. I don't think look at the gap they got here. I've watched a lot more. I think I watched more tackles that could play guard. I think that's what this draft is going to be about too. Like I've watched most of these guys. But I do need to watch Ratledge. I unless I'm like really in love with the prospect, which I could be, you probably won't ever see me mock him to the Lions, just to be honest with you. Just because like I think guard is considered like a big need for the Lions. I don't consider guard a big need for the Lions, honestly. But it depends on Zeitler, right? But if they bring Zeitler back, I don't think they need to go O-line at all. Just to be honest, I think they're going to continue to roll with Colby as backup tackle. I feel good with Mahogany and Glasgow. I think next year it would be more important. But I don't know. I think offensive line feels like a need. So I just want to make sure that personally, because what I'll do is I'll push needs up, and all of a sudden, to me, I'll start grading guys higher just because it's a need. and that throws me off. I'm trying not to do that, but I do need to watch him though, because maybe he is a dog. Shoot, maybe he's a first round guy. I don't know. I don't know. See, this is where I feel like wide receiver falls off. I don't have anybody that would be worth this pick right here, right now, like at all. The only guy that I would consider would be Matthew Golden. He goes a little bit higher. That'd be the only guy that I consider here. Okay. So that's why I think receiver could kind of be off the table. I'm trying to think. Corner, I'm still pretty raw at corner. I got to watch a lot more of these dudes. I've tapped in on Elijah Huzzy. Not many. I like Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is cool. He's the guy that might be in a mock soon. Thing is, he's just undersized. He feels like more of a zone corner. He's limited, but man, he's feisty, bro. If this dude was like a late day 3 pick, I wouldn't even be mad at it, man. He played slot last year, played outside this year, is better outside. He absolutely handled bigger receivers. I like Jalen Smith. I haven't watched nearly enough. We did Tommy Hill in our last one. Someone in my comment section told me to watch Shamari Simmons. So, okay, I don't know who that is. So, there's a couple people that also commented on my last breakdown video. Like, yo, check these out. Bro, I already made the video on the guy. Like, yo, the video's already up. Someone asked me about Jordan Birch. Some of you asked me about Kyle Kennard. The videos are up if you're watching, by the way. I've watched Jacob Parrish. I've watched a little bit of Dotson, Dorian Strong. Maxwell Harrison. Maxwell Harrison, I think, is going to be interesting if you think about for the Lions specifically. Maxwell Harrison, I feel like, could be a really interesting spot. They've dropped Benjamin Morrison. I think he's a man cover corner. So based on wherever he lands, he could be interesting. There's a couple of these guys, man. Like this group right here is pretty tough. You can even I don't know if I throw Porter in that one, but like this group, it's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough. And honestly, I like what we have here. This might be like the round 4 of corners, man. Round 4 of corners is kind of tough. I've heard good things about Alexander. I just haven't watched him. Where's our Chris Poo Lomb? Oh, goodness. Okay, let's see. Where is Chris? Chris Paul. Oh, okay. Oh, Chris Paul's up here. Chris Paul's up here. Wait, why are you calling him Chris Poo? Is that his middle name Poo? Or do they just call him Poo? They probably call him Poo. His middle name ain't Poo. Why'd I say that? That's crazy. That's crazy. I do need to watch him, though, because maybe he is better than these guys. Maybe I'm off. I watched Cody Simon today. I like Cody Simon. I don't know for us, because I don't think he's a specialty in a certain area that we really need. But as a backup linebacker, I like Cody Simon. That's a smart player. Okay. That's nickname because Chris Paul is tough name. Okay. Okay. Keandre Lambert Smith. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the wrong position over here. I don't know what that is. A lot of those linebackers at the Senior Bowl are at the bottom of that list. Xavier Watts. Hey, I'm just not going to lie. At some point, if I take Xavier Watts, don't be shocked. I think Xavier Watts is he looks like a first-round talent. It's just like how much can he add in terms of man coverage? This dude is so fun to watch. He flies around. I think he's going to take the football away at the next level. As a run defender, it's like inconsistent, but it's also like, oh my gosh, he could tap into being awesome in run support. I love Xavier Watts. I think the safety class is strong this year. This is a strong safety. Maybe that's the sleeper. From the guys that I've seen, it's strong, man. I like Upton Stout. I like Makuba. I like Nick Emanwari. I could do a video on him right now if I could. I could right now. Like I have that many notes. Kevin Winston. We did the video on him. I like the safety class, man. Even if some of these later guys like Hunter Wooler, I think he was playing linebacker at the Senior Bowl. He's a wide receiver. Yeah, wide receiver. I'm kind of late on. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of late on. I know a lot of these top guys because we did our rankings over on the roundtable. I've watched all these guys. Watched Savion, watched Isaiah Bond. I honestly haven't watched much Tez Johnson. Haven't watched much Trey Harris either. I went to Antoine Wells for whatever reason, did that backwards. Watched a little bit of Torrey Horton. He had that breakout game a year ago against Colorado. Haven't seen a ton from 2024. Pat Bryant, seen him. Antoine Wells, I do like him. And then I've seen a lot of these, Colorado receivers. I like Webster. He's just tiny. I like Webster. The edge from UCLA is for real, perfect for you guys. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You got that. Wait, who are you a fan of? Are you a Rams fan, Manuel? Look, man, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like we that's what I'm talking about. All right. So you appreciated the mock draft. That's what you're saying. Or have you not seen the mock draft? We actually just did the mock and I drafted him. And I drafted him. So if you haven't seen it, look at that. Look at that, man. If you find the image of the formals, the Lions met with today, his name was listed as only Poo Paul. Oh my god. Okay, wait, I'm gonna pull that up and then win this thing. That's crazy. Nick Nash gonna be a steal. Heard a lot about Nick Nash. I didn't know he was a Triple Crown winner in college. Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes sense. I've heard about him a ton. I have not watched him. Wait, hold on. Let me look Okay. Uh, interview tracker. Interview tracker. Okay. Shout out to Detroit Lions on. Oh goodness, there's a lot of guys here on SI. Shout out to them. So pretty much all the top players are listed. Okay. All right. No, no, no. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Oh, Colin Oliver is the DN. Why'd I call him a tight end? I do have notes on him though. Mike Green. Okay. Of course. Of course. Nick Scorton. Got a video. Got a video. Don't have a video. Interviewed him. Savion Jones. Oh, I'm a Savion Jones kind of guy. Chris Paul. See, different list. This is Chris Paul, not Pooh Paul. Different list. Jalen McLeod. Haven't seen him. That's why. Okay. Lindenberg. That makes sense. Kobe King. I think Kobe King, I've watched like a tiny bit of. I think Kobe King's like 245, bro. He's a big off-ball linebacker. He's massive. Jay Higgins, haven't seen him. Colin Oliver, seen him a little bit. I thought he was like a day 3 guy when I first watched him. Campbell, Howard Cross. Don't know who that is. Notre Dame edge Howard Cross. Barrett Carter. Okay, that's Clemson. And then Kenneth Grant. Okay. Okay, so I'm familiar with like 70% of those dudes. A couple I need to catch up on. I don't know. Like we used to do videos on those. Maybe we'll have to do that again. Maybe I'll have to like dive back into doing a video on all those guys. You know that video would be crazy, but if I did like a quick one, you could just tap on each one. A lot of defense on that formal list. Single offense player on there? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, could that be based on the drills that they're not doing defense yet? Like offense starts later? Because if you look at it, defense and linemen are Thursday. So it's possible because it's defensive linemen and linebackers that everybody listed is defensive line. Yeah, there's no DBs listed either. So I'm guessing that's just because of position groups that are going. They'll probably get DBs on their neck. I mean, if that's if that's all if that's all their foremost is just defensive linemen and linebackers, that's insane. But I guess it could be. But I think that's probably what that is. I think tomorrow we'll see DBs. Then they got tight ends. There's just going to be a lot of players on this list. That's what this is going to be. That's what this is going to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's my guess right there. Could be wrong though. Maybe that's everybody. Like we're getting a defensive lineman. About to find out. I do want to do a video on Savion Jones. I think the next one's going to be potentially on Turner, or it was one of the guys that you all asked for in the comment section. I think was that Stewart? I think it was Shamar Stewart that you guys were asking for. There's a couple that you guys threw out there, but I think I'm gonna pick one of those. Then we'll do the next video. But again, we're over an hour in, man, so I got to give a shout to BetUS. YouTube 150, that's the code, 150% deposit match. First deposit, 125%. Next 2 deposits up to $2,000. You could bet next year's season awards right now for like MVP, for example. And by the way, Ben Johnson talking a little bit of smack. Goff is below Brock Purdy. Now, this might be, this is disrespectful. If I could screenshot something and send it to Jared Goff directly, this is what I'd send him. This is crazy. Kyler Murray. Why is Kyler Murray up here? Okay, that's actually just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's disrespectful. So plus 3,000 is not bad though. Hold up. So if you bet 300, I'm gonna jump on that. So yeah, man, check out BetUS if you're looking to get on that. You know, Ben Johnson, man, a little disrespect. You know, I don't think he was trying to be. I think he was trying to tell a joke. But like I read it as like, bro, talking a lot about the Lions. In fairness, they keep asking about the Lions. Like I saw them asking about pizza, and he's like, "Oh, Chicago pizza." All right, I ain't mad at you for that, but it's like, oh, come on, man. Y'all need to stop asking about Lions questions. But if anything, there is some fuel that should be being added, I think, to what he's been saying. You know, we're like, Sewell threw the best trick play passes. All right, why was that necessary to throw in there? That wasn't necessary. Manning, I know Peyton Manning showed some love to Dan Campbell, which was cool. Peyton Manning was like, what did Peyton Manning say? I saw Peyton Manning said something about to Dan Campbell that was like, he said something to Dan like, you're gonna be good, just keep like chopping wood or something. Like we won a Super Bowl the next year. He said this. I said, I know how you feel. I've been there, and it's not a good feeling. Understood that. Understand that, but we did win the whole thing the next year. You just got to keep sawing wood. Okay, that's what he said. So apparently it's after 2005. They were the 1 seed, and they lost to the 6 seed Steelers. Very similar to what we did. That was the kind of loss that could probably make an organization say, let's change everything. Let's kind of blow the whole thing up and start over. or your organization owner says, hey, we're doing something right, let's keep going. Shout out to Peyton Manning, man. I became a really big Peyton Manning fan after he said that. You know what I mean? Shout out to Peyton Manning. That's awesome. No, that's awesome. But that's facts. I thought about today, bro, we won 15 games, man. I heard someone say something. They're like, oh man, the Lions lost the playoff game. I'm like, yo, but we did win 15 games, bro. We won a lot of football games. 15 games is crazy in a season. That's crazy. I didn't know it lined up that identically to the Colts. Oh, that's amazing. For me, it was the tub curse thing with Daniels. The tub curse talked about how they reacted to a similar situation. They also won 15 before losing in the first. Wow. Okay. Dang. Okay. I didn't know that. Now, being the 1 seed though and getting knocked out is tough. That is tough. I ain't gonna lie, that's tough, dog. But it's okay. That's the NFL playoffs, man. That's how they go. Now, were they the 1 seed next year when they won it? That's the question. I don't know. How often does 1 seed win? Probably a lot. Probably a lot. But it was cool to get the 1 seed. You know what I mean? I'd run it back any day. I'd run it back. Give me the 1 seed again. Give me the 1 seed again, bro. That was amazing. Still can't believe Campbell didn't win Coach of the Year. It's crazy. It's crazy. Some of the comment section was cooking him, as they should. Kevin O'Connell. Not cooking Kevin O'Connell, but cooking the decision. Don't cook Kevin O'Connell. He didn't do nothing wrong, but it's like he did lose to the guy that didn't win Coach of the Year twice. I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to. Anyways, though, I'll leave that there. Appreciate everybody joining. I will be back during the combine at some point, whether it's live, whatever y'all want to see, man. If y'all want me to just be live reacting to stuff, maybe the end of it, let me know. If you want a reaction thing, we can kind of do that. It's going to be a little difficult because it's just numbers, but I don't really need to watch it for that. I don't think I'm going to be live for a majority of it just because I want to be able to get notes down of players. So, yeah, man. But I do want to do shows, and that's probably going to be afterward at worst. So, we'll see, man. We'll figure it out, but free agency's on the way. I want to get another mock offseason in. Want to get a couple more player breakdowns in, hopefully this week, at least 1 or 2. But, yeah, man, I'm going to leave it here, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. That's the plan. Still can't believe Campbell didn't win Coach of the Year. It's crazy. Best record in the NFL. I mean, he earned it. If anything, just add that to the motivation. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that should be motivated, and just add him to the list. It's crazy. It's crazy. But Dan Campbell did his thing this year. He did his thing. Go Eagles. Shout out to my man Anthony. Y'all handle business. Y'all handle business, man. Now, look, I did believe in you. Anthony. I believed in y'all in the Super Bowl. Let's be fair. I didn't the whole way. I did in the Super Bowl. I believed in you guys. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, I bet on y'all by between 7 and 11 points. Instead, y'all won by 50. So it actually hurt. I was like, oh, okay, this game it ain't even gonna be close. But congratulations, man. And I think the Eagles and Lions, after going through it yesterday, you can check it out. Yesterday I did a little video. There's a lot of similarities, I think, in the blueprint of how we've done things over the last couple of since 2021, which is interesting, and it makes sense. Both teams have drafted really well at the top that they found similar success. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool, man. But I'm fired up. I know they're trying to get rid of the tush push. I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. It might. I don't know. I don't really have a care either way. My thing is I don't know, man. I want to play the Eagles again. I just want to play the Eagles now. It's pretty fire. And I do think it's good in hindsight that they got to represent the NFC. I think it's great that they got to represent the NFC. That NFC always gets oh man, the AFC is where everybody's no, dude, get out of here, bro. It's a team sport. All right, it's a team sport. The NFC is on top. Okay, and I think that this year we saw that take place. So that's it. That's all I'm saying. Lions Commanders Week 1, has that been announced? That'd be amazing. Oh my goodness, I'd love to run it back with them. You know who I'd like to run it back with though is Buffalo. I do want to run it back with Buffalo, but no, Washington. Run it back, dude. Absolutely. I don't care that we got new coordinators. Absolutely run that back. We'll be better now with this new coaching staff. I do believe that. Anyway, so we're going to be out of here. I'll see y'all soon. Thank you all for watching, and I'm out. And if you do want to, I guess see me talk about the mock draft again, you could just, probably don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. But we are live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you ever look for fresh content, my old content's up there too. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm live on Bleacher Report, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and all the replays stay on on Bleacher Report. So if you have the app, follow me over there. And follow the Lions page. You'll see me Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6. You'll see my shows live, or you'll see the replays. And they're just like this. Every day, 30 minutes long. I'm out.